Abusiafo yemo bibia kwaba. Honorable Kingsley Nyako kwada so member of parliament edema NPP. Na owura we umbeka ya ono NPP for primary sa omo eto MP for aba ewi akira okoma sika ma Joy News omo camera capture no ewi akire osi na enye bribe ene na odi mo officials no na mum motivation sika. It since that enemy who so we no quarry edi no quarry padi can be Uncle Kwesi Pratt Junior ne woman who the smoothness level Metro TV or bra CJ Chief Justice Madam Tokono the remover and sensem and Uncle Kwesi Pratt no logical consistency in the MPP any enema bi a omo taking it serious. Yanko na nkoti nsema Uncle Kwesi Pratt Junior di to edwa oni Kingsley Nyako kwada so member of parliament yakoba na kai na beto so mesro so be subscribe a document atum na wa like na wa share na foforo enya bia hwe hanom still remains #1 platform on YouTube, which is a political platform nkoti nsema bra koba beto so mesro so udo comment betum na wa like na wa share na subscribe for latest update.
All public discussions, debates, and so on. One of the things that I like to do is to test for logical consistency.
Right.
Very, very important. Logical consistency. Now, Doc here says that yesterday the case was determined by 5 judges.
Yes.
And that all the 5 judges were appointed by NPP administrations. That's what he says. And that in spite of the fact that all 5 judges were appointed by an NPP administration, 2 dissented. And his argument is that it doesn't matter who appoints the judges. Now, if I'm mistaken, you can tell me that I'm mistaken. But this is your argument.
Spot on, yeah.
Yes. Spot on.
I said the first one was unanimous, 5-0.
Please.
You asked me how to
So how can you make this argument and at the same time insist that because President Mahama is appointing judges, those judges will listen to President Mahama?
Is that what I said? Did I say that? I didn't say that.
He's parking the court. If you say he's parking the court, what do you mean?
No, I said that he accused somebody of parking the court by doing, I said that Akufo-Addo didn't park the court. He did
parking the court.
But he is doing that.
Doc. Parking the court. What does it mean?
It
means that you are putting people on the bench who will side with you. That's the only way it can be.
Interpretation.
Yes.
So please, can you allow me to finish?
Yeah.
So this logical inconsistency is clear. Because in one breath, you're arguing against parking the courts. In another breath, you're saying that it doesn't matter even if you park the courts. The judges once appointed can be against you.
You're putting words in my mouth. You are trying to just kiss the price.
So say your words.
I suspect he's doing a logical deduction from the comments.
Based on what?
Not necessarily quoting the words that you uttered.
No.
He's making a logical deduction.
I want to be fair. I want to be fair to
yes.
Don.
What I said was
what did you say?
I said that during the election campaign, President Mahama accused Akufo-Addo of parking the court. And I went for that to say that what Akufo-Addo did was to replace justices, those who had died and those who had gone on retirement. Then he comes back, he wins power, and he has nominated 7. And this is in contrast to what he said. That's what I said. But you are extending it and putting words in my mouth.
Well, why are you deliberately taking out some of the statements that you made here? Those who are watching us, had you made those statements?
Which ones?
You made the statement that in spite of the fact that 5 judges were all appointed by NPP administrations, the 5 justices, 3 of them went against the position.
Yeah, I said that.
Of the NPP.
Yes, I said that.
And therefore, it doesn't matter who appoints a judge to the court.
Yes.
You said that.
Yes. I'm not wrong about that.
Hold on,
Okay,
hold on.
I'm
I'm testing for logical consistency.
Okay, yeah, let's proceed.
Then, in the same breath, you accuse the Mahama administration of President Mahama of packing the courts. Hold on. What does packing the courts mean? Packing the courts can only mean that you are appointing judges to the court who would side with you.
Or to do your bidding.
Or to do your bidding.
With respect, you are misinterpreting what I said. I made
Why
reference.
is that misinterpretation?
No, I made reference to what John Mahama had said, accusing Akufo-Addo, and I'm saying that he's doing the reverse, and that is contradictory.
That he's packing the courts. That's what
He
he said.
accused somebody of packing the court, and I said that was not true.
And that he's also packing the courts.
Yes, and I said that is
So stick to that. Why are you running away from that?
No, I said it is hypocritical. That's what I said.
Agreed.
So don't say that I said that judgment will be ruled in your favor.
I beg you, don't run away from
I said these things, but place them well.
When you say that the president is packing the courts, the only meaning can be that is putting judges who are favorably disposed to him.
You are missing the point. You don't want to.
Listen,
you proceed. Jump.
There's only one small part of the presentation I want to make, that there's some logical inconsistency in
I
the
disagree with you. I disagree with you.
No problem. Those who are
With
listening
all
to
due
us
respect, I disagree with you.
No problem.
Two different contexts, yeah.
Okay, no problem. But those who are listening to us get it. They can see the logical inconsistency very clearly.
Uncle Pratt.
That's one. Now, number two. Why are you people doing this to the nation? Before we started this discussion, you played a clip which had the general secretary of the party, who is a lawyer, in it, and other leaders of the party in the clip. What are they saying? That their main concern is that if the process, the constitutional process which has started, is allowed to conclude, President Mahama will declare his wish for a third term. We all heard it. You heard it.
I did. And it's not the first time. They've said it.
Well, yesterday, I was on a platform with your chief spokesman, Mr. Ahiagba, who actually stated very clearly that the NPP is not worried about the law or the constitution. And that what the NPP is doing is politics. And that if you follow the law, it is difficult to find fault with what the president is doing.
So why is Vincent Kwesi in court?
Hold on. Now, these are your own statements. I hope you won't run away from these statements too. You understand?
That I made
No, made by your general secretary, made by your chief communicator, made by your leaders. They are saying that, look, this is not a matter of law. This is not a matter of the constitution. It's about politics. And that somehow we believe, we fear, we've dreamt that President Mahama may declare a third term. I wish to run for a third term. Why are you wasting our time?
Okay, go ahead.
But why are you wasting our time?
Go ahead.
Why are you in court when you admit that this is not a legal matter, that this is not a constitutional matter? Why have you gone to court? To waste our time? To waste the time of the courts? What is this? Listen.
Look, can you give me 1 second to just
Let me finish making this point.
I want to respond to this.
No, let me finish making this point.
You mean the president's removal of the CJ?
The same,
I'm very happy
Major Online.
Okay.
It will take a new Chief Justice to repair broken image of Judiciary Mahama.
Okay. They'll take a new justice.
Yeah.
A new judge.
A new justice. To repair the image.
A new justice.
It will take a new Chief Justice to repair broken image of Judiciary Mahama.
But
that is where my fear is coming from.
Okay.
That is why
but is that the same as he would remove the judge?
My brother, this is common English.
No, I get it. But interpretation is also very
Don't go
important.
there. Come on. This is plain English. Plain English.
You people, you are looking us in the face. You are telling us that what you are doing is not about the law. It's not about the constitution. And that is about the possibility.
The one could say, it depends on who you're talking to. There are some
General Secretary of the party doesn't speak for the party.
But there are some NPP communicators who have a different view.
Who are they?
They say there are procedural infractions.
Who are they?
Like myself.
That is why Vincent is in court.
Like
For
myself.
instance, he raises the issue. For instance, he raises the issue about why the CJ was not given a copy of the petition. And he thinks that it is unfair to her. That's why he's in court.
Massa.
So that's something. It depends on who you're listening to.
No, I listen to everybody, including you.
Okay.
And me.
Well, more. I want to deal with it. What you are saying
Yes.
doesn't make any sense. Hold on. I beg you. Hold on.
Right.
Why? Procedural issues.
Yes.
You, this morning,
Yes.
read Justice Kunedi
Yes.
asking them to show him what in Article 146, what procedure has not been followed.
Yes.
You read it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And you came to a conclusion that there was nothing like that.
Yes.
You.
Yes.
So why are you now raising this question? No. Hold on, I haven't finished.
Okay.
I haven't finished. These are the same people who argued that when it comes to these processes prescribed in Article 146, the president is only a conveyor belt. Didn't they say so?
Yes.
So what are they talking about today? These arguments of convenience. This arguments of convenience which has no logical consistency, which is not rooted in law and not rooted in constitutionalism, should be thrown out completely. What is this? Are they not the very people who told us that the president is only a convener belt?
But he can use his discretion to discontinue.
When he is just a convener belt, how does he use his discretion?
He can. He had discretion.
Were you not the same people who said in the Charlotte Osei case that when he received the petition, all he has to do is to pass it on? What discretion can he exercise when his duty is just to act as a post office, to act as a conveyor belt? How can he then exercise a discretion? Stop doing what you're doing to the nation.
What have you done?
You see, and this your fixation, and it's actually a fixation about president probably, maybe, would declare a third term. And if you ask them, say, oh, but we are hearing things.
But how?
If you go to bed
on this issue,
Master, if you go to bed, if you go to bed and you have a bad dream, and on the basis of your bad dream you decide to hold the nation to ransom, you should be treated for what you are. You should be treated for what you are. What is this? Has President Mahama ever told you that he's going for a third term? Where did he get that information from?
He's not, but
because you have realized that there's no legal or constitutional basis for what you are doing.
That is not true.
You are now shifting.
That is not true.
And bringing
that is not true. Because you see, Uncle Kwesi, people have their opinions.
Who told you that President Mahama is running for a third term or intends to run for a third term? Where did you get that information?
For some time, I told you probably that I have been thinking about the possibility of it being done by him, even before he won the presidency. You ask my colleagues on our platforms, because of Article 66(2), that I felt that the Supreme Court at the point might be called upon to interpret it. And if
on what basis? What is your basis for assuming, for dreaming that one day President
it is not a dream? It's not a dream.
So give me the basis.
But we're in this country. When we were supposed to go to IMF, we said that we're going to. President Mahama said that we're not going to IMF. The next day we went. But I'm saying that some people have argued that looking at Article 66(2), a person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms. Some people think that it might need interpretation. Is it 2 terms consecutively or 2 terms apart as Mahama? So if they are asking, people are thinking about this constitutional provision, you don't say that they are dreaming. Now you are sitting here. You don't, please, with all due respect,
you asked us to demonstrate.
Indulge me.
Because you think, you imagine
as we sit here, you
that
don't
one
know,
day President Mahama
you don't know the mind of President Mahama.
That's the basis for asking us to go on a demonstration.
No. The demonstration was to save the judiciary. The demonstration was to save the judiciary. It was about the removal of the CJ and the onslaught on the judiciary. That was the reason why he went on demonstration. But if other people express an opinion on his third term possibility, just indulge them. It could be or it could not be.
Where is that possibility coming from? That third term possibility coming from?
But I've read
there's nothing in this constitution who says that Mahama is going for a third term. You cannot read this constitution and come to the conclusion that Mahama will go for a third term.
But I'm saying that
how do you read the constitution?
That's what I'm saying, that people are thinking that interpretation might give it a different twist. You might think it is black and white, but our justices might be thinking differently. So people's genuine worries, allow them, focus on your disagreement with them, but don't use that to debase what you did on that day. The day we went on demonstration, it was the attack on the judiciary. Others expressed their opinion. When I sat here today, I've expressed my opinion. I didn't even talk about what you are referring to. I raised issues of doubt, comments the president had made previously that tell me that his intention is prejudice. That's my worry. And I've shown you my joint online publication that he is saying that we need a new chief justice to repair the judiciary. Is the judiciary broken to be repaired? Let's serious in this country. What is right is right. What is not right, we need to be bold. And Kwesi, you, a senior person in this country with huge experience, you be part of our democratic struggle. You be part of it. You and Koku Bako and others, you be part of it. We should guard against our democracy. If the president is doing things that will not inure to the benefit of this country, let's be bold and tame the faith. I like your forthrightness, but on this matter, on this matter, I'm not feeling you at all. I'm not feeling
don't feel me. I don't want you to.
I want to feel you this morning.
No, don't feel me. I beg you. If feeling me means that I should be logically inconsistent and I should dream dreams about people's
intentions,
it's not about dreaming,
it's about what the man is doing.
Then don't feel me. I don't want you to feel me at all.
It's about how the man is
you
doing.
Understand? Now, Massa, I would like you to show us. This is Article 146. I'll give it to you. And I will ask you to show us what the president has done, which is inconsistent with Article 146. You have quoted Article 296, Article 296, and claimed that the president is in violation of Article 296. I want to read Article 296 for you and everybody else so that we can understand what we're talking about. This is Article 296 of the Constitution. It says, exercise of discretionary power. That's what it says. Where in this Constitution or in any other law, discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, A, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. Fair and candid. Those are the operative words. B, the exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike.
Emphasize the prejudice too. The prejudice.
Yes.
Put emphasis on the prejudice.
It says the exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment,
or prejudice,
or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. And where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer,
like Mahama,
there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution.
Has it been done?
Or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power.
Has it been done? Has it been done?
Hold on. Master, you are talking about a process which is done in consultation with the Council of State. The Council of State is made up of 16 representatives of 16 regions. So that personal bias does not arise, cannot arise. All those conditions set out in 296 cannot arise. When the president is enjoined to take that action in consultation with the body which has representatives from 16 regions, which has a former Speaker of Parliament sitting as chairman of the body, which has institutional representation from the armed forces, from the police and so on, how do you say that this body can take a decision which would express the personal prejudice of the president? Does it make sense? Master, those who are quoting Article 296, does it make sense? When we are talking about personal prejudice and so on, how can the president, acting in consultation with the Council of State, demonstrate his personal prejudice and so on? It doesn't arise. It doesn't arise at all. You understand?
All right.
And then you are demanding disclosures. You know, one of the full petition, which will suggest that you yourself, you don't believe that what you are reading as a petition is a petition. As if you are confident that what you are reading is a petition, why are you calling for the petition again? You understand?
Right.
But you are demanding that the petition should be made public so that we can comment on it as well. It means that whatever you have, which is in the media, may not be the authentic petition. You understand? But be that as it may, where in this constitutional process described by the Constitution, is it stated that the petition should be made public? Where is it stated that if the president fails to make that petition public, he errs or is in violation of the Constitution? Indeed, what 146 states is that all of these processes should be in camera. It is clearly stated here. Why are you people violating the Constitution? Why are you people insisting that the president should violate the Constitution? This is the first time in my life that I've seen a group of people actually demonstrating and calling on the president to violate the Constitution. Normally, what is normal is that we demonstrate to protest against violations of the Constitution. Now we are demonstrating to encourage the president to violate the Constitution. And then my brother here makes a statement which is very interesting. He says that it is not everything which is in the Constitution. You understand?
Right.
And that there are some important things which are not covered in the Constitution. And therefore, he expects the Supreme Court to insert those things in the Constitution. The Supreme Court has no power to amend the Constitution. It has no power whatsoever to amend the Constitution. Its duty only is to interpret. So if there is something which is not in the Constitution, nobody can put it in the Constitution.
But they can recommend for it to be done.
Not the president, not the Supreme Court.
They can recommend.
No political party can put it in the Constitution.
The Supreme Court can recommend for it to be done.
But it will
They
not
can
be
give
in the Constitution. And therefore,
consequential directives for Parliament to take it out. They can do that.
yeah, but until the Constitution is amended, we go by the letter of the Constitution. You don't dream about things that you think the Supreme Court can amend. In any case, the Supreme Court has no power to amend the Constitution.
I'm saying that they interpret the Constitution.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they give consequential directives.
Including power to amend the
But
Constitution,
if
or recommendations that the Constitution should be amended.
Kolende, Justice of the Supreme Court, is saying that there are not timelines, and if timelines are important, and you don't think that it should find expression in the Constitution through their consequential directives, can they?
They should give consequential directives which would amend the Constitution in effect.
That, because it's Parliament that will do that. It's Parliament that will do that.
But until the Constitution is amended, it is a Constitution and we all have to follow it. What kind of lawlessness are you people advocating?
There is no lawlessness anywhere, Mr. Kwesi Pratt.
That something is not in the Constitution, but you want it implemented. And that the Supreme Court, Master, and that the Supreme Court should direct Parliament to amend the Constitution to include those things so that we follow. What kind of lawlessness
A
is that?
justice of the Supreme Court.
Except to say that, Kwesi,
Yes, I'm listening to you, boss.
the lawyers will also tell you that decided cases are as equally potent as the Constitution. For instance, they talk about the Frank Ejechum versus the Attorney General's case, where the judge in that case talked about the fact that it is only fair that you make copies of a petition that's been filed against somebody known to the person. And also talks about the establishment of a prima facie. For instance, if you look at 146, the removal of the Chief Justice, there's no prima facie case there.
No, you're wrong. It is there.
No, check.
It is there. He made that point. I just checked.
Oh.
Yes, it is there.
Okay, please.
It is there.
Hot point.
The establishment of a prima facie case, whether in the removal of the Chief Justice is in 146.
It is there. It is there. It is there. I'll show you.
I think the committee has to. The committee.
146.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the president receives a petition for the removal of a justice of a superior court,
Okay.
other than the chief justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the chief justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie case, and it goes on for.
Okay.
Where the chief justice decides that so and so and so, then it goes on and on and on, and then it says in 6, where the petition is for the removal of the chief justice,
Yes.
the same processes will follow.
Okay.
But this is the difference. Where the petition is for the removal of the chief justice, the president shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the president,
Yes.
and 3 other persons who are non-members of the Council of State, non-members of Parliament, no lawyers.
Yes.
It's clear.
No.
It's clear.
No.
Go to the
You
next
notice
one.
in the case of the
Master.
Chief Justice, because
Go-
you notice in the
go-
case of the
go
Chief
to
Justice,
7.
it's not been stated explicitly.
Hey, Master, you are making a mistake. Everything applies.
Yes.
Except the authority which decides the case finally. Everything in 146
Yes.
applies to the Chief Justice as well. Except that when it comes to who determines
Okay.
whether or not the case presented is meritorious or not, in the case of an ordinary judge, it's the Chief Justice who determines.
But isn't that unfair?
But in the case of the Chief Justice,
Yes.
it's determined by a panel of 5. That's
committee.
the only difference.
I get that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that
So the prima facie case
Yes.
applies to the Chief Justice as well.
by inference.
Not by inference, direct. It applies to the Chief Justice as well.
Well, the lawyers disagree.
The council,
Some lawyers
which lawyer
disagree.
disagrees?
No, they disagree with that.
Which lawyer?
They're saying that the fact that in the case of the removal of the Chief Justice, it hasn't been stated explicitly there.
It is explicit.
It means that
It is
even
explicit.
in making the case for the establishment of a prima facie case, it has only become so because of the Frankejechum and that the Attorney General's matter. That's what some lawyers. That's their argument.
Are you saying?
As far as
Are
I'm
you
concerned,
saying
yes.
that the Constitution says that if you want to remove the chairman of a regional tribunal,
Yes.
a prima facie case should be established first before reference is made
Exactly.
to the Chief Justice.
Right.
But when it comes to the Chief Justice,
Yes.
there's no need
Go
for
straight,
prima facie
go straight,
case.
go straight to the point. That's the argument.
How can the Constitution
No, but
have
look
said
at
that?
7.
How
7.
Of the say 146.
The committee appointed under clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the president whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office.
Yeah, that's the substantive
Yes, that's the
determination.
substantive.
That's the substantive
issue.
determination. The
But
prima
we're talking
facie
about
case,
prior to that.
the prima
what
facie
ought
case
to happen.
is done at
All
the
right,
level
so
of the Council of State.
that's fine. So obviously we'll do this. We'll take just pardon
no.
us. We are mere mortals, and so we would have different understanding about some of these things. So
No,
we'd
that's
always
not about being mere mortals. I mean, look,
the lawyers.
no,
The lawyers-
logic is
is
a
logic.
science.
Logic is logic.
Logic is a science
Right.
like mathematics.
Right.
Unless you want to disagree.
No, I get, but look,
Logic is a
that's
science.
why, but that's why
like
we go to law
mathematics.
school. If we reduce to just law, if we reduce law to just science and logic, then there's no point going to law school. There's a reason why we go to law school,
Yes.
so that we are taught how to even read the Constitution and understand it. And that's why the lawyers will always
Master,
disagree.
this Constitution is not written in Latin.
That is true.
This Constitution is written in simple English.
Yes.
And I want to submit that anybody who has gone to secondary school
Yes.
is capable of reading this Constitution and understanding it.
But
It's
why-
not Latin.
But okay, see,
Listen.
why then do you think that even judges disagree on the same Constitution? If you make it as simple as it's black and white, it's simple, there's no
it can't
point to
be.
disagree.
It can't be.
Judges even disagree on sometimes an issue as simple as you and I would have thought. They would disagree.
Different
The
perspectives.
3-2 that he talked about, as to whether or not whether the suspension should be revoked or not. It's the same judges. They disagree.
You can get 7 and
It's obviously it's not as
can be
simple as
overruled.
that. Even though yes, it might look like it's simple,
Master,
but it's not as simple
what
as that.
I'm talking about is so very simple. What we are discussing this morning is so very simple. There is nobody
Yes.
who has his head properly screwed on. You understand? Who is capable of deductive logic.
Right. We'll disagree.
Who can argue that there's anything in 146 which suggests
Yes.
that if the Chief Justice is suspended, Mahama will go for a third term. There's nothing here.
No, yes,
There's nothing here
Yes, that doesn't
which
make sense.
suggests
That doesn't make
that
sense.
But
if
you
the
can also
five-member
not say-
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I
doesn't
finish?
make
There's
sense.
nothing here which suggests that if the five-member committee determines that the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office, Mahama will go for a third term.
Yes.
One thing I may mega machine free MPP for one answer, Mahu free MPP for Miensia in a moon, Mahu free of what any say. No quarry pa, I did no quarry. So moon can quarry no moon free no. O moon can. Sa sem no at the seer. Na omudin baby. Sa sem no, I was so more kind straightforward. Na omo edin and baby ni kwan so modin now. MPP for away. And they know clearly, say Madam Gertrude Tokunu, Chief Justice, she must go. Because Subai any near be a audit the judicial, I mean the Supreme Court honor. Say Nima be brave. Say Nima be brave. And I don't see the need, say Mamino. Still now yeding. What's now? And I say idea we cried here. MPP for a channel as if she being see that. A dear bad dear MPP for I'm fine Madame Charlotte say Ukruma. Madame Charlotte say a dear MPP for I'm fine you know. Omo esunsum mami etiko edin songo edi mami ekotena fi. Na say ne adrumuswa. You want to tell the whole Wiase, say Debbie, Mudi Embrana Mudidi Charlotte say no. Sambrano can't work on Gertrude Asaba Tokono because ono de why superior than anybody. Kwaya ye faso eyi Chief Justice, ye Electoral Commission no. It is a slightly and as a slight effect, a slight difference in a womb. The moment a Chief Justice ye be clear no, a paved way edema the Electoral Commissioner to be also removed easily. But the Kobasi ye Chief Justice ye Electoral Commissioner, we pass through the same procedure ye the first one ye the Chief Justice no. So, by removing the Chief Justice no, it paved way for the Electoral Commissioner to also be removed easily. Ye dear Sem and MPP for when Nama Moka. Try Kingsley at one moody. At a point, couldn't do oka with this kind of MP, ya, so. See then, and I'm winning power as a member of parliament. After no marking Sunipa, there is no way after no marking the dear was a dear honorable come because he is not an honorable member. And then interview you on a command any bedroom, Adum TV or Chemua. I will be hitting a bosso. Be hitting a boss back, Nipan no pursue kunu. Entia on so a kobo police in Biasun. Enti unimimbra, you called yourself an astute lawyer. You called yourself, a very competent and a very vibrant and intelligent member of parliament and lawyer as well. You know the law, unimembrana, ubia you bibia, as soon as possible, honum, a danger one report in Nipan. As a lawyer, into a yantro NPP for we no my being say on better position edi. Ene ye bedi dollar no ho komo. Ene ye bedi dollar no ho enkomo. Ye bedi dollar no ho enkomo na me ba life a ye bedi dollar no ho enkomo. Yes, ene dollar na drop it at the 13%. Ye misa ye ho dollar na drop no. Enema saying ana what will happen next? A DMB any bitimi ama Ghana akoyenim ana sen ena Ghana bisiaye after say dollar a drop you know and meba life about 330 the kobo for meba life na meba bedi hu kobo ye bedomu suko na ya chirem de ntia dollar no a drop e di aba 13 cedis. $1 is to 13. Akufo-Addo fees na $1 is to 16 cedis 17 and then $1 is to 13 cedis. It tells you sampa nkofo no ye dwuma. It tells you sa to forcing aye din a won kasa no he is working secretly. It is ana amamu nya kasa dodo yeka na wasom yeka na masom yeka na masom. You see the smoothness of this government. You see the smoothness of this government. Enye kasa bebre, sebi enye atrodi, enye boshe na mom eye dwuma nkoten. Masro fa comment tom like share na foforo enye bihwe nti Kingsley eye nyako eni Kwesi Pratt ama Kingsley nyako ay ketua bi e wo Metro TV because onim di okeka. He don't know the law. He does not know the law, but he's pretending to be a competent lawyer, which is not. Mama lawyer be Yankopon Shirama Chiba for Yankopon Yokesi, Bibia should make it even. I salute you. Yankopon should be Bia. Bye bye.